Kaspa just bounced off a level it's defended multiple times in the past week. We're talking about the $0.072 support zone, a line in the sand that's been holding back sellers like a dam under pressure. But here's what's interesting. While KAS sits at $0.077 right now, there are two massive liquidation clusters forming. One sitting right below us at 0.072, the others stretching up towards 0.092. And whichever direction breaks first could determine whether we see a violent move up or a painful drop down. Meanwhile, 61% of Kaspa's supply hasn't moved in over 6 months. That's a record. Long-term holders are getting comfortable. But a top 20 whale just dumped 36 million KAS onto an exchange, and that's raising eyebrows across the board. So what's actually happening here? Are we looking at accumulation disguised as consolidation, or is this the calm before a much deeper correction? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I break down crypto markets without the hype, without the nonsense, just data-driven analysis and real insights you can actually use. Hit that subscribe button and smash the like. It helps the algorithm push this content to more people who need to see it. Let's get into it. Kaspa's been bleeding slowly for 2 weeks now. We peaked around the mid-$0.08 range earlier this month, and since then it's been a steady grind downward with lower highs stacking up on the chart. We're now sitting at $0.077, which is up slightly today, but we're still well below where we were just days ago. The question everyone's asking is simple. Is this dip over, or are we about to see another leg down? To answer that, we need to zoom out and look at what's happening across the entire altcoin market right now. According to popular crypto analyst Michael van de Poppe, the total altcoin market cap just hit clear resistance at its all-time high. He's saying we might see one more pullback before altcoins finally break through and start reaching new highs. And in my opinion, that makes perfect sense. Now here's where it gets interesting. Despite recent declines across the board, crypto analyst Don Crypto Trades reports that 76% of the top 50 altcoins have outperformed Bitcoin over the past 3 months. That's massive. But history shows us that brief periods of altcoin outperformance are usually followed by pullbacks where Bitcoin regains dominance. And right now, the Bitcoin dominance chart looks weak. That tells me altcoins could continue gaining strength once Bitcoin and Ethereum find a solid price floor and stop bleeding out. So where does that leave Kaspa? Well, the liquidation heatmap is painting a fascinating picture right now. We've got 2 key clusters forming. The first one sits to the downside around 7.2 cents. The second extends upward toward 9.2 cents. These aren't random levels. They're pressure points where price action tends to get drawn like a magnet, depending on which direction the market decides to break. And this is where things get suspenseful. Kaspa's current price at 7.7 cents is literally sitting in no man's land between these 2 liquidation zones. If we break down through 7.2 cents, we could see a cascade of long liquidations that push us towards 7 cents or even lower. But if we hold this support and start climbing, those shorts clustered around 9.2 cents become fuel for a potential squeeze that could send KAS flying. Now let's talk about holder behavior, because this is where the data gets really compelling. Kaspa supply that hasn't moved in over 6 months just hit a new record high of 61%. That's conviction. Medium-term holders aren't budging. They're sitting on their bags, watching the price fluctuate and refusing to sell. In my analysis, that's typically bullish behavior. It shows that the people who've been here for a while believe there's more upside ahead. But then, we have the whale situation. A top 20 Kaspa whale just moved 36 million KAS across several transactions to Gate.io, reducing their effective holdings to 110 million KAS. Now, moving tokens to an exchange usually signals selling intent. This whale didn't move those coins to a cold wallet or another personal address. They moved them to a centralized exchange where liquidity is available. That's a red flag. Or is it? Maybe they're providing liquidity. Maybe they're taking partial profits after a long hold. The timing is what concerns me most. Why now, when we're already in a pullback? Let's break down what the chart is actually telling us. The 4-hour time frame shows a gradual downtrend from early September peaks near 9.6 cents. We've been making lower highs, sliding toward a key floor around 7.27 cents where buyers have repeatedly stepped in over the past week. That level is held multiple times, and that's significant. The latest candles show a small recovery from that support. After dipping to 7.3 cents on September 27th, KAS bounced back above 7.7 cents, and we're currently range-bound just beneath short-term resistance between 8 cents and 8.2 cents. If that breaks, sentiment shifts bearish fast, and we're looking at the next lower range around 7 cents or worse. Now momentum indicators are starting to look more constructive. The RSI across multiple settings sits in the 46 to 58 range, rising slightly from oversold territory. This tells me the market is neutral but edging toward bullish if buying pressure continues. We're not overbought, we're not oversold. We're in that zone where a catalyst could push us either direction. Open interest is holding near $520 million, showing steady participation in derivatives markets. Net shorts are around $358 million, while net longs sit near $270 million. That's a relatively balanced positioning, which is actually encouraging. There's no heavy one-sided buildup, which means we're less likely to see a sudden downside cascade. It also gives room for a short-term bounce if buyers step in aggressively. According to the data, the lack of aggressive short buildup reduces immediate downside risk. In my opinion, that creates an environment where patient buyers can accumulate at a discount while the market figures out its next move. So, what's the short-term outlook for today, September 29th? The immediate focus is whether KS can stay above 75 to 77 cents and challenge that 80-cent resistance before the daily close. A clean break and sustain above that band would most likely pave the way for a run toward 84 to 86 cents. Levels we tapped earlier this month before rolling over. If bulls cannot sustain 75 cents, the market will test the 72-cent support line, which has held multiple times before. A strong break below that would turn sentiment bearish and expose the next lower range around 70 cents. That's when panic could set in, and we could see accelerated selling. But right now, Kaspa price is showing early signs of stabilization. The steady defense of the 72-cent base, combined with rising RSI and firm open interest, keeps the door open for a mild recovery through the rest of the day. This isn't a screaming buy signal, but it's not a sell signal either. It's a wait-and-see moment where positioning matters more than prediction. One thing I want to emphasize here, we're in the late stage of this market cycle. Analysts are pointing out that higher risk-taking is defining this phase, with investors moving further down the risk curve. That means capital is flowing into smaller cap altcoins, speculative plays, and projects with higher volatility. While this raises questions about sustainability, it generally supports the relative outperformance of altcoins during short-term upswings. In my analysis, the confluence of factors right now suggests cautious optimism. We have record holder conviction with 61% of supply unmoved for 6 months. We have a whale potentially distributing, but not enough to crash the price. We have liquidation clusters on both sides creating volatility potential, and we have technical support holding firm at 7.2 cents, while resistance looms at 8 cents. This is a market in equilibrium waiting for a catalyst. That's where we stand with Kaspa right now. A critical support level holding, a resistance level within striking distance, and a market structure that could break either direction depending on Bitcoin's next move and overall risk appetite. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure you're subscribed because I'll be covering Kaspa's next moves closely over the coming days. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Are you bullish or bearish on KS at these levels? And if you want more deep dives on altcoins and market structure, check out the videos on screen. I'll see you in the next one. Disclaimer. Remember, cryptocurrency trading involves substantial risk. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions.